Hi everyone, welcome. I'm so happy to be back because today I have a very special video in store for you. I will be documenting my purchase and the installation of an antique Victorian pier mirror. This is a special one, you guys. I have been looking forward to bringing this video to you for so long now. I am just beyond excited. And not only will I be showing you the installation of this mirror here in our townhome, but I will also be showing you a little restoration of the mirror as well. So, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure you stick around. And we're back. Thank you all so much for tuning in again. This has been a video that has been a long time in the making. I promise you, I pulled out all the stops in this video. I really wanted this one to be as special as, as the subject matter is in this video. I am just beyond excited that we are finally here. So, as I mentioned in our intro, today we are documenting my purchase and the installation of an antique Victorian pier mirror. And this has truly been a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me. I have wanted this mirror for so long, and I was finally able to make it happen. And the mirror fits so perfectly in the aesthetic of this home, and I had to bring you guys along with me on this journey. So, without further ado, let's get started. The French pier mirror made its first appearance in French interiors sometime between the 17th and 18th century. The pier mirror is defined as a tall, slender mirror often placed between the space between two windows, hence the name pier. It simply means a space between two openings. As the years went on, the pier mirror became much more luxurious and grand, especially as we moved into the Victorian era. French aristocrats wanted ways to maximize natural lighting and candlelight, and the pier mirror seemed to be the perfect solution. Okay, so I wanted to hop back on here really fast. Now that you know the history behind the French pier mirror, I think it's time for us to head over to U-Haul and pick up the truck that we rented. I mentioned this in my previous video. The mirror is roughly around 10 or 11 feet tall, and with that being said, I couldn't be too careful and trust that, a pickup truck was going to be able to haul this thing safely. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and pick up the truck. Now that we have our truck and everything appears to be in order, it's time for us to go pick up the mirror. I am so excited. And we're gonna be going over to my favorite antique store, and they are absolutely phenomenal. I'm gonna take you guys along with me just because I want to get a few shots inside the antique store because you're absolutely gonna love it. So without further ado, let's go pick up this mirror. we are back. And I can finally breathe a sigh of relief because whew, that was stressful. That was stressful to say the least. But I will say it did go as good as it possibly could have. The mirror is hanging on the wall, and thankfully there was no casualties. Alex and I were honestly very surprised with how well that went. And I'm so happy that I got to take you guys with me on that. I'm just so thankful that everything went well. But anyways, as I mentioned at the start of this video, now we need to do a tiny restoration on the mirror, as there are a few areas that were damaged over time prior to me taking possession of the mirror. So when I did first spot this mirror about 2 years ago, I did notice that there was a few areas that had been damaged over the years. You know, this is an antique, and you know, it's seen a thing or two. So, you know, it's to be expected that you're going to see a little bit of damage on an antique like this. And basically the damage that I noticed is it has a few areas that are chipped. It honestly has a few areas that an entire piece of the mirror actually had broken off on some of the decorative areas. And, you know, that didn't stop me from buying this mirror, to be honest. I'm very used to, you know, the world of antiques. And in the antique world, you have to be prepared that most of the pieces that you buy are probably going to have a little bit of wear and tear on them. That's just the nature of, you know, the antique world. So with that being said, we are going to do a little restoration on this, and I documented the whole process, and I'm so happy to take you all on that journey with me, because let me tell you, it was a journey. I basically had to create a exact color match of this mirror, and it took me a long time to get there. So I'm really excited with how it turned out, and I can't wait for you guys to see the finished product. So without further ado, let's go get our paint for this mirror, and let's start this restoration. Okay, so the very first thing to do is I needed to stop over by Michael's to pick up our paints. For this project, I did pick up a few different colors. As I mentioned, we needed to color match the color of the mirror. And to do this, I mixed a few different colors together. I went with an antique gold, a bright gold, a deep ochre, a black, and an antique white. When I first purchased this mirror, I did notice that there was quite a bit of damage. As you could see, there was some scuffs, some areas where the paint was chipping off, and there was even a few broken pieces where some of the decorative pieces had broken off of this mirror. Unfortunately, the damage was a bit more extensive than I had even realized, but I did feel that it was nothing I couldn't handle, and I went ahead and did my best to do this mirror some justice. It's time to begin mixing our paint colors, and I'm trying to get a perfect match here. And in order to do this, I took some reference photos on my iPad, and I sat down and put on a good podcast, and I began mixing all the colors that I mentioned earlier. we got our color. And my goodness, to reach that final product of a color that I was happy with, that took so much time. Way more time than I was expecting. I think I probably spent a few days trying to get the perfect color swatch. It was a process of me just mixing the colors that I had picked out and adding, different hues of black and white into it, and really just trying to come up with something that, I was happy with. And, I spent so much time, putting different color swatches on paper towels and then holding them up to the mirror and then also comparing them to reference photos because I needed this color to be exact. It couldn't be close. It had to be exact. Otherwise, your eye would be drawn to all of the areas that we touched up, and it just wouldn't look, as beautiful as, it possibly could. You know what I mean? So I am so happy. I really feel that we found a color that is going to lend itself well to this mirror. And without further ado, let's just get this paint going. And I cannot wait to see the finished product. And it is done. Oh my goodness, you guys, I cannot believe how this turned out. This mirror, it exceeded all of my expectations. I hope you liked it, and I hope that you enjoyed this journey of us restoring this mirror to its former glory. it just makes my heart so happy to see this mirror hanging on my wall. And every time my boyfriend and I come home, we get to walk past this beautiful piece of history. And I could not have done it without you guys. Thank you so much for all of your support and for being here. It truly means the world. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely make sure you stay tuned because I have a ton of fun content coming your way. We just started filming the next video because I actually just purchased another really cool Victorian Gothic antique. It's actually a pair of antiques. And I don't know, I'm trying not to spoil it right now because I kind of want it to be a surprise. But just know there is another amazingly fun, spooky video coming your way. Much sooner than I was expecting. So definitely stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you so much for joining me. It has been an absolute pleasure. And please stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.